Hi everyone out there, it's Plastic EP coming in from Melbourne, Australia. Let me tell you, I got the rock chick right here on Rock On, and let me tell you, we've got a very special guest, right? He is David Stark. Not only is he a fantastic author there, show the book Sabine. There you go out and get the book. It's all
It's
too
a great
much.
read.
And it's never too much having you on the show, David. And I want to say, last year when I went to London, I ended up coming to see your tribute band there, Trembling Wilburys. Let me tell you, it was one of the best times I've ever had. Now, tell everybody where is it I came, because I forgot.
Yeah. Hi there. Great to see you both. And you came to a place called Boysdale in Canary Wharf. It's a very smart restaurant place where we play. Actually, we're playing there about 3 times a year now, and they love us. And that we're playing there next week, funnily enough. So if you happen to be back in London next week, that's where we'll be. So
I won't, but I'm telling everybody that lives around that area, make sure you don't miss them. Now, I'm going to tell you what I loved about your band. I love that venue. And before I came there, Vicky and I had a dinner outside in one of those nice cafes. We were sitting on the table, we ate, came straight up to the club. It was like VIP. It was like going into a 60s James Bond movie. That's how I felt. It was like, it was like going into one of the casinos type of thing. Anyway, when I saw your band playing, right, this is the great thing that came across to me. I love the show. And it's like the guys are talking in between and cracking jokes. And to me, that's what made the show for me. Because I couldn't distinguish who's Tom Petty, who's Bob Dylan, and with their accents, I was trying to work it out. So that's what made it more entertaining. And they got fantastic drinks and food there. So, I mean, that's just great. And I want everybody in surrounding areas or wherever, even in London, when the Trembling Wilburys are playing, you've got to go and see them.
Situations
Well, I got three bands actually.
Okay, tell us.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is mad, but I was rehearsing 2 days ago because we're also doing tribute to The Who, and three of the Wilburys are in it, plus another couple. We've got a great guitarist called Memphis and a girl called Rebecca on keyboards who also does Carole King. She knows all the
she's
Who.
great.
She
I've
knows
seen
all
her.
the Who
Yeah.
keyboard parts. So we're the OO, double O, and we did a few last year. We're just coming up to doing some more this year. So it's a lot of fun. We love it.
Who's the
We're
third
Dave
band?
Stark, the third is the Dave Stark Five.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Dave Clark 5, but Dave Stark.
Bits and pieces.
Yeah.
Hey, glad all over.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we do that one. It's not just Dave Clark. We do all 60s stuff.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
What's your favourite tune that you do?
Oh, God. Well, I don't know. I always loved Dave Clark as well as the Beatles. So, yeah, glad all over, bits and pieces.
Did you ever meet him, David?
I've met Dave Clark, and I've even told him about the band, and he thought it was a very funny name. So, yeah, I've met him a couple of times. He's a nice guy, and haven't seen him recently, but
he hasn't turned up to any of your gigs.
No, not as yet. But we got the picture.
We never know.
Dave Clark and Dave Stark together. I'll have to dig that one out. Yeah, it's great.
So, when did you first pick up the drumsticks? How old were you when you took to the drums?
I was 13 years old. This was in April 1966. Because it was the school holidays, Easter holidays. My friend, this is a great story, it's in my book. My pal from school, also called David, got a drum set for his 13th birthday, and he lived in St. John's Wood, just about 2 or 3 minutes away from the studios. And he's always telling me, this is 60? Yeah, it was 66. He's always telling me, I saw the Beatles arriving at the studios. I got their autographs. So I lived a few miles away in Stanmore, northwest London. So I thought, I'm going to go up. I want to go and see the Beatles arriving or whatever. So I cycled all the way to St. John's Wood, which is quite a long way. And I went round to his home first, and his mum cooked us lunch. But then he had this drum kit, which I'd never played drums in my life. So I got on the kit, and he showed me what he could do, and I had a go. I loved it. The only thing was that he'd set the kit up the wrong way round. So he looked at the brochure and he just did it face on. And so he set it up left-handed instead of right-handed. And that's why to this day I'm a left-handed drummer. And I can never play right-handed, which is like, what most... Ringo's a left-handed drummer who plays a right-handed kit. And that makes his style. And my friend, literally, you could have walked there in 4 or 5 minutes to Paul's house. He was in between Paul's house and Abbey Road Studios, or as it was then, EMI. So we went down the street to see what was going on after I played on the drums for a few minutes. And we went down there. I put my bike up against the studio gate, and there's a lot of kids there, girls and people waiting for the Beatles to arrive. And we didn't know what was going to happen, but we suddenly saw this big black Rolls Royce Phantom 5 coming up the road. And not only could we see it, we could hear the guy inside. He had a microphone set up with a speaker under the bonnet, so we could hear all this nonsense. And it was John Lennon talking complete gobbledygook as he's getting to the studio. Literally, if only I could have had a recording of what he was saying. But it was nonsense until the car gets to the studios and they're surrounded, and I suddenly hear him say, "And get that bloody bike out the way." So the first time I meet a Beatle, he's telling me off. And then
You haven't shown my pictures of me outside Abbey Road, standing outside, and also doing the crossing. So let's have a look at a couple of photos of those.
Yes.
There was a TV show called The Bugaloos, and it was big in America, and they looked for the people here in the UK to take them there to do this show. Now, you auditioned for that show. That's true. I want you to tell us about that.
Oh, my God. This is in 1970, I think, or 71, I forget. But, yeah, you're right. It was a TV show they were planning as a kind of monkeys type show. And it was produced by a couple of guys in LA called Sid and Marty Croft. And they came to London. They wanted a British group. So they advertised this in the Daily Sketch paper, which we no longer have. So I applied. I went for an audition. It was at the offices of Pi Records near Marble Arch in London. And the following day, this is literally the following day, my pictures in the paper, along with a few others, including an actress we know called Vicky Michelle. Four of us pictured in the newspaper saying, these are the on the shortlist for the Bugaloos group. So this is amazing. And I was getting ready. Oh, I'm going to be chosen. I'm going to leave school. I'm going to go to Hollywood and all the rest of it. Well, it never happened because the Bugaloos was about a group. They were supposed to, this is ridiculous. There was a group living underground as if they were kind of bugs or insects underground. And they chose the group, but they're all much shorter than me. They wanted short guys, not me. I was 6 foot at the time. So I never
David, I just want to say, right, just let me put in there. Now, they lived in the enchanted forest. But the thing I want to say is, Vicky and I were fortunate enough to interview Sid Croft. Now, Sid Croft passed away, of course. But if you watch that interview, he tells us who helped to make the final selection of the ones for the show. And do you know who it was?
No.
Mick Jagger.
No.
Yes.
I never heard
that interview. And he said Mick Jagger was there and chose them.
You're kidding me.
No.
I didn't know that.
That is mad.
We went back to London and auditioned for the Bugaloos. And it was Lionel Bart who wrote Oliver, a friend of mine, who really helped us choose the Bugaloos. But this is something that you haven't heard. On the last day, when we chose the finals, because there were 4,000 kids in February. It was freezing cold in London. And I used to bring hot chocolate out in the street for the kids, really worried about them, waiting to audition. And it was Mick Jagger that came in and chose the Bugaloos, the finals. And nobody knew that because he was in the recording room, you know, and you can't see in, but he can see out, you know.
When they did launch the show, by that time I'd left school. I was working at my first job was for Premier Drums, the same brand that Keith Moon played. I worked in the promotions office in London in Regent Street, and this guy came into the office one day, and he recognised me. And he said, "I know you." I said, "How come?" He said, "You auditioned for the Bugaloos," and I said, "Yeah," and he said, "I'm the drummer for the Bugaloos. I was in the band. I recognise you because when they launched the program, they put a poster of the 4 people who made it, and on the outside of the poster, they put pictures of the other people, some of the other people who didn't make it. He recognised me from the poster, which I couldn't believe." And we kept in touch from quite a few years. He lives in France now.
Do you know, David, the thing that really fascinates me about the Fab Four, this whole thing, you know, every year we find out more things about the Beatles. For example, what Placid just said, things surface, things come up through different sources. You know, it's like an onion. It's like layers and layers of undiscovered stories and memories, and people have. connections to the Beatles in whatever connection, you know, it's just amazing. And I mean, I have my own personal connections. Is that, you know, well, if I could say that I've met Julia, I've met Jackie, the sisters, you know, John's our sisters, and you know, Julia I've always met through, you know, Beatle Week, but Jackie I met completely through a mutual friend a few years ago, and she was my hairdresser. I mean, how crazy is that? I mean, it's not crazy, it's brilliant, but it's just like so unlikely. And you know, it makes me feel very blessed, you know, in a way. I feel so like, wow. You know, all these things.
Well,
What I'm saying is there's so much coming. There's so much surfacing about the Fab Four all the time.
Well,
it's just
I
incredible.
get it. It's like you never know where the connect. And I'll tell you that I was a Beatles fan from when I was 10 years old, when I first heard them in 1963. But my first connection, sort of, was the following year when I was 11 years old in 1964. We went on a family holiday to Torquay in Devon, and in the hotel there's a young couple. They'd been married. They were on a belated audition. We got friendly with them. His name was Clive Epstein and his wife Barbara, Brian Epstein's brother. So my family and my parents, we all got friendly with them. And then after the holiday, he sent me pictures of the Beatles, which I still have, glossy pictures from NEMS, from the office in Liverpool. And, you know, I was 11 years old and I had a connection right away. It's quite
it's just your destiny, David, isn't it, that you've always had this connection to the Beatles.
Kind of mad.
And Aunt Mimi, you know, the Aunt Mimi thing. I mean, that I find absolutely, you know, tell us a bit about Aunt Mimi, because, you know, she was quite a formidable woman, wasn't she? But she, you know, she seemed to like you. And
she loved me. I mean, I went down, this is after John died, and I never met her before, but I was invited down by a mutual fan friend from the States who was staying with her at the bungalow that John had bought her in Sandbanks in Dorset. And so I went down for a weekend. I didn't stay in the house. I booked a B&B, but I was there for the whole weekend. And meeting Mimi was amazing, really. And even though she was John's aunt who brought him up, not his mother, but I could see him in her, in her face, her nose, the way she spoke, her sense of humor. For me, she was, I think, closer in personality to John than his actual mother, to be honest. And we got on great. And she was showing me all of John's stuff that was still, that he'd left, because he used to visit her quite often. She had a room he stayed in, because he bought the house in the 60s and he used to visit occasionally. She kept his room made up, even when I was there in 1981. She kept his room made up. She had many of his awards on the wall, like Ivan Novello awards.
She was very proud of him.
Yeah, and she not only had kept the room, she had all his school stuff, his school books, his school cap, and she was showing me all of this when I was there. And it was like, I couldn't believe it. And that she had a great sense of humor. I could see where John got it from, because she was funny and she was very basic. You know, when she said, "Would you like something to eat?" She just wanted to make eggs and toast. You know, and that was it. She was very basic, and you know that's what they used to.
They had a good relationship, John and Aunt Mimi. They had a very good relationship.
Yeah, he used to ring her every single week. He always rang her. You know, that's what she missed. And of course, the other thing is that I asked her, did John ever come back to see you in secret? Because there's no record of him ever returning to the UK after they went to New York. But she was quite adamant that, yes, John came to see me in secret, in disguise. I don't know when. She was, I swear, I can see her saying it now. She was adamant that he did visit her. It's never been proven or anything, but I will always give her the benefit of the doubt. You know?
I think so. Yeah. I think the same goes for the sisters. They always hoped that they would see, you know, John. But as I say, it's
I know it's all very sad, and I was just very pleased that I was able to be there that weekend and just, you know, try and cheer Mimi up a bit. And we got on great, and she wrote me a lovely letter when I got home, which I still have, thanking me for coming.
Oh, brilliant!
Lovely letter, very special.
That's very precious. Then, did you meet John and talk to John anytime?
Oh yeah, I met him quite a few times. You know, in the 60s. I was sitting behind him and Paul at the Yellow Submarine premiere in '68, and I was chatting to them because it was amazing to be there. And funnily enough, talking of Mick Jagger, I was sitting in Mick's seat because he couldn't be there. And I was sitting next to Keith Richards, who said, "You're all right there, mate. Mick and Marianne are in New York." I literally sat in Mick's seat. When the film finished, they could not move. Everybody's trying to come up and say hello. We were stuck there for about 10 minutes. I'm just chatting to them. I can't remember anything you said, but it was great.
How did you get, I mean, I know this, but for the benefit of everybody else, how did you get to that premiere? How did you know about it?
Well, it was public that the Beatles were going to be at the premiere of the film. The first time they'd been seen in public in London for 2 years after they stopped touring, because they did. Okay, let me just get the timeline right. Stopped touring in '66. They made Sergeant Pepper in '67. They're in the studio. They didn't really do much as a group in public. So this was going to be the first time they were seen. And I knew they were all going to be there. So I just went along with my pal just to see them arrive, as you do.
How old were you then?
But then we saw somebody going into a doorway in the cinema. We followed him in. There's a lift that went up to the roof. We spent 2 or 3 hours on the roof of the cinema with a few other, mainly French people for some reason. Until it got like to around 7 o'clock. And I said to my pal, "Oh, we got to get into the cinema." So we just walked down and got into the top circle very easily. And then we were asked for our tickets by a usherette, and I said, "I'm sorry, we gave them in downstairs." She said, "Oh, you shouldn't have done that. Who invited you here?" I said, "Well, it was I couldn't think. I just said Clive Epstein. You know, Brian's. I dropped Clive. It was the only name I could think of, and she brought the manager of the cinema. He said, "Okay, let's go and find Clive Epstein." I thought, "Oh, I'm in trouble if we find him. I'm in trouble if I don't." And so he took it one level down was the dress circle, the royal circle where all the stars were arriving. I saw Status Quo, 1 or 2 of the Who, but I couldn't see Clive Epstein. But I did see a guy I recognised with bald head and glasses, who I knew was Dick James, the Beatles music publisher from Northern Songs. I'd never met in my life, but I went up to him as if I knew him. I said, "Oh, hello, Dick. Have you seen Clive here tonight?" And he said, "Oh, he rang me this afternoon. He's so upset. He's stuck in business in Liverpool and can't make it tonight." And the manager of the cinema said, "You're okay. I can see you know people here." So we were in, but we had no seats. So we just stood at the back of the circle where all the stars were coming in. And there's film. Suddenly it all went mad when the Beatles started coming in, and there's some video news footage of George and Patty walking straight past me, standing at the back of the circle, and then the Beatles go and sit down in the front row, and they're all being chased by the photographers. In those days, they had the flash bulbs. It was all going mad. It was like a haze of smoke when they all sat down. but as it died down, I could suddenly see there was a couple of seats on the aisle behind John and Paul. So that's when we walked down there, and I saw Keith Richards in the third seat, and I ended up sitting there for nearly 2 hours.
What are you like, David? Honestly,
that was it.
Brilliant.
And that was my big night with the Beatles, and that was that was.
And how
really
about the film? Did you enjoy the film?
Oh, I loved it.
The animation.
Well, we'd never seen anything like it, and it still stands up today. The Yellow Submarine, brilliant animation, absolutely fantastic. The story is great. It's a lot of fun. And and they did 4 new songs in the film. And of course, It's All Too Much was one of them, George's. And then they did Hey Bulldog, the rocker, which I absolutely loved. So when that finished, I leant over to John and Paul and I said, "That's a good one." And then Paul turns around and says, "Oh, thank you." And you can't make it up.
Oh, these are just such great memories, David. I mean, you know,
I've got many others.
It warrants a second book, you know.
Well, I did start on my second book will be the non-Beatles stories, which is all the other people I've met or worked with. And I'm doing it alphabetically from ABBA to ZZ Top.
Wow.
I work with them, and Zeppelin I used to see, but I'll choose one of them. But so I met all of ABBA as well. So
and there can't be many people on your bucket list to still meet.
I never met Elvis, and I still haven't met Bob Dylan. Who knows?
Oh, you haven't? Okay.
And
so about the traveling Wilburys, did you get to meet Roy?
I met Roy. Well, I was very lucky. Roy, I saw his last ever European appearance because I was working in Amsterdam for Billboard magazine, and we had an offshoot called Music and Media, which I was involved with. And Roy, we read, was going to be appearing in Antwerp in Belgium for the Diamond Music Awards. He was getting an award. So about 3 of us drove all the way to Antwerp from Amsterdam. We got there just in time for his press conference before the concert. And I spoke to him. I asked him a question at the press conference, and I got a couple of pictures I took of him there. And this is in, I think, November '88. This was just over 2 weeks before he died.
Oh,
we couldn't believe it. He died 2 weeks later of a heart attack. Could not believe it. And of course, he never performed with the Wilburys. The song he sang at the award show was "You Got It." That was his single at the time, produced and co-written with Jeff Lynne. So I was so pleased. I'd seen Roy a couple of times before. You won't believe it, but I think it was '86. He played at a place called the Mean Fiddler in Harlesden.
Oh yeah.
Which is a big pub in London, because he re-recorded all his hits for Virgin Records. They made a new album, and he played that night all his big hits. He was incredible.
Right.
Just
Mean Fiddler. Wow. And there we go. That's one of my. I
want to say something for the younger generation. Hold that one up. That CD there. Now, that's volume 1 or volume 3?
That's volume 1.
Okay, I want to tell you why. They released volume 1 and volume 3, and the joke is they never released 2. A lot of people don't know that.
Oh, it's funny that there wasn't a number 2.
That's Sabine.
Well, there wasn't one. They just skipped to 3.
It was a joke.
Sabine. It was a joke. They released volume 1. They released volume 3, and they never spoke about volume 2 because it was a joke. There was no volume 2.
That's right. But they're both great albums.
Different.
They're fantastic songs. You know, the songs are very funny. The lyrics are brilliant. That's why we love doing them, because they're just really great songs.
The Trembling Wilburys, the show I saw, it was unbelievable, totally entertained me, and you nailed the songs, you nailed that feeling, and you gave people what they want. Because how many people actually saw them live? I don't think they played live.
I never got to see them live.
They never played live as a band.
That's right.
They never did that.
Oh, they never played live as a band.
They never played live.
I'm gonna write a little letter, gonna mail it to my local DJ. It's a rocket little rocker, I want my sock to play. We're all over Beethoven.
Because Roy Orbison passed away, I believe then they reached out to Del Shannon to join them, and I believe he agreed to do it, but unfortunately he passed away, if I'm
That's
correct.
Right. Absolutely correct, which is, yeah, Del Shannon was gonna, they all loved him, and he was due to be the replacement for Roy, which is why we end our show, we do a version of Runaway, Del Shannon's biggest hit, which was also recorded by the Wilburys, or mainly Jeff Lynne, as a bonus track on the reissue album of the number 3, rather.
With Paul McCartney's new album, right, doing great business out there, The Boys of Dungeon Lane.
Yeah.
Now, not too long ago, I think it was around 2 months, I did a show and I predicted that Paul will sing with Ringo. And that happened, didn't it, on this album? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, he did. It's a great track. Yeah, the 2 tracks I really like from the Dungeon Lane album are The Days We Left Behind, lovely ballad. I think it's as good as anything that Paul's done in the past few years. And you're quite right, the one he did with Ringo, Home for Us, all about Liverpool. It's a really upbeat song. It's great. And I would love to see them perform that together. Wouldn't that be great? I hope that's going to happen.
You know what I'd like to see? Now, forget about the Beatles' legacy for a moment. Forget about Wings' legacy for the moment. Forget about what Ringo's done and what Paul's done solo. Now, it's 2026. Now, do you think the world don't want to see an album called Paul and Ringo where they just do an album? It's just them. It's no reflection of their legacy, their past. It's just them putting music out to the world. I think that would be the greatest gift for everybody in the world.
It would be great. And they could call the album Bass and Drums, because that's what it would be.
That's a good one. You got to put that to Macca.
Well, I think Paul and Ringo is like right on it. But I agree with what you say too.
Yeah. Well, it'll be great. And, you know, Ringo, it's amazing. Ringo's looking great. He's playing shows right now, I think. He doesn't stop either.
You know what it is? The world loves Ringo. And I've got to say why. At the time,
this is true.
The most famous drummer in the world was Ringo. And I'll tell you what, the most famous drummer in the world, even today, is Ringo. It's just that he got across to the masses. And everybody, every generation just loves Ringo. And they love the songs that he sang. And he sings them. Yellow Submarine, Act Naturally. He did songs that were like country, and he did other things. And people love him for that. And, you know, Ringo's Ringo. And Ringo didn't change for anybody. And Ringo's, to me, it's just Ringo. It's just the greatest. When they went to America, you know who the most popular Beatle was in '64? It was Ringo.
It was always Ringo.
I love his personality. I love his character. I mean, I love all of them. Don't get me wrong.
He's a great guy. I've met him quite a few times, and he's always great. He's a funny guy. But the Ringo song I like best, which I think is a classic recording, is Octopus's Garden on the Abbey Road album.
I just got to say, now, I saw one of the greatest AI videos of Octopus's Garden with the Beatles underneath in the water. I don't know if you've seen it, but I think it's the greatest video I've ever seen. Have you seen it, Tony?
Okay, I'm going to check it out. But I love that song.
And you know how he wrote that? He went away from the Beatles on holiday. I think he was pissed off with, so he went to Sardinia or somewhere. No, it's true. And he was on a boat, a yacht, and the person was telling him about the octopuses, and that's where he got the idea. I believe that's the story.
Right.
David, I just want to say it's been fantastic having you on our show, Rock On. Sabine just had to leave us for a minute. And I want you to tell everybody about where they can get your books, where the bands are playing, where they can come and see you live, because it's an experience not to miss. And just tell us where anyone can contact you or check out any things that you're doing on the net.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Plastic. Right, so my book is All Too Much, and that's been out a few years. And, of course, the title is a song of George Harrison's in the Yellow Submarine movie. and everyone loves the title. Plus, everyone loves the cover of my book, which is a painting of the Beatles by a lady in Canada called Ingrid Black, who I found online. It's a wonderful picture, a psychedelic picture of the Beatles. And so the book, my problem has been that my publisher went bust last year, and I've got limited stock of the books, but they are still available on Amazon. Should be able to pick them up there. Otherwise, any problems, you can contact me via my website for the book. It's alltoomuch.net. That's where you can read more about it. Plus, it's available in different formats. I've done the audio book. I've narrated it myself. It's got extra features. It's got the interview I did with Pete Shotton, John Lennon's best pal. I went to meet him years ago. That had never been heard before. So that's an audio extra, as well as the song. I also write songs. I did a tribute song to the Beatles. It's called Gold Songs, and that's on the extras of the audio book as well. So there's all these options. Plus, of course, you mentioned my band, the Trembling Wilburys, and our website is tremblingwilburys.co.uk, or find us on Facebook, just facebook.com, Trembling Wilburys. And also, I have a Facebook page for my book. It's just facebook.com. I think it's all too much. That's all it is. So you can find me quite easily, or under my own name, David Stark, or my company name, Songlink. So there's all these options, and I always make sure I reply to everyone who contacts me.
Thank you, David. It's fantastic having you on the show.
My pleasure. Great to see you.
I'd like to be under the sea in an octopus's garden in the shade. He'd let us in, knows where we've been, in his octopus's garden in the shade. I'd ask my friends to come and see an octopus's garden with me. I'd like to be under the sea in an octopus's garden in the shade. We would be warm below the storm in our little hideaway beneath the waves, resting our head on the seabed in an octopus's garden near a cave. We would sing and dance around because we know we can't be found. I'd like to be under the sea in an octopus's garden in the shade. Shout and swim about the coral that lies beneath the waves. Oh, what joy for every girl and boy, knowing they're happy and they're safe. We would be so happy, you and me, no one there to tell us what to do. I'd like to be